Now it's now honored to invite distinguished member of Swiss Parliament representing the canton of Geneva to deliver the opening address. May I invite Honorable Lawrence Reils, member of National Council of Switzerland.
Thank you very much, dear friends, Tashidele, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for your invitation, and I am very honored to address a few words to you at the opening of this forum. And I am also speaking on behalf of the Parliamentary Group of Friendship with Tibet. This forum takes place at a particularly challenging time, and I'm also very proud that it's taking place in Geneva. You know, the ecosystem of the Geneva organizations is a bit not at ease at the moment, and it is very important then to see so many people also fighting and struggling for freedom and for the human rights, and particularly for the human rights of Tibetan people. So the values of multilateralism and international humanitarian law are increasingly being questioned, and ongoing conflicts risk overshadowing all the struggles that had yet not found a just and lasting solution, like the issue of Tibet. The Parliamentary Group of Friendship with Tibet has the privilege of maintaining regular and close relations with the Office of Tibet, as well as with representatives of Tibetan organizations here in Switzerland. We are grateful for the support of the Secretariat led by Mr. Thomas Büchli, who is here, which plays a key role in organizing events and strengthening the ties between our parliamentary groups and the Tibetan civil society. Last year, 3 of my colleagues in the parliament, Leonor Porchet, Fabian Molina, and Lida de Ventura, traveled to Dharamsala to meet with the Tibetan government in exile and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I myself had the honor of welcoming His Eminence Kundalini Tatsak Rinpoche at the Federal Palace in October 25. These meaningful interactions allow us to better understand the situation of the Tibetan people and their needs. They also enable us to express our solidarity with the people who have been denied for far too long the right to live freely and in accordance with their own laws, culture, and traditions. As parliamentarians, we also have responsibility to raise concerns and to bring the voice and needs of the Tibetan people to the Parliament and to the Federal Council. As maybe I can use the word of Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader in Burma, who said, "Use your freedom to promote ours." And I think it fits also with the issue of Tibetan. In this context, the Foreign Affairs Committee on the National Council submitted a postulate calling for a detailed report on the situation of Tibetans in Switzerland, with particular attention to freedom of expression and surveillance. In response, the Federal Council published a report in 2025 based on a scientific study conducted by Professor Ralph Weber on the University of Basel. I think he is here. I just have the pleasure to meet him just before, and he will also explain more about his studying in the panel tomorrow. The conclusions of this report are clear and deeply concerning. Members of the Tibetan and Uyghur diasporas in Switzerland are subject to surveillance, intimidation, and pressure by agents of the People's Republic of China. In some cases, they are coerced into monitoring other members of their communities under threat to their family members living in China. The Weber report highlights another major objective of the Chinese authorities: to discourage Tibetans and Uyghurs living in Switzerland from acting in politics. To this end, the Chinese authorities notably launched cyber attacks, for instance. Furthermore, there is suspicion that the communication of Tibetans and Uyghurs living in Switzerland are being monitored. The sources of the Weber report confirm that it is known fact that Tibetans and Uyghurs who expose themselves are systematically observed and photographed in Switzerland. The report, this time the one of the government, therefore recommends concrete measures to protect these communities and to address the issue of transnational repression within the framework of Switzerland human rights dialogue with the Chinese authorities. But of course, as I heard, these measures are a bit disappointing. They are not strong enough. So it will be the responsibility to the Parliament Group on Tibet to ensure that these recommendations are followed through and more and more. Several members of our group sit on the Foreign Affairs committees, and we will closely monitor the implementation of these measures, and we wait for greater determination expected from the Federal Council, that means our government. I also want to emphasize environmental issues which must also be addressed with the utmost attention. Too little is known about what is often referred to as the third pole, including the Tibetan Plateau and the Himalayas. This region contains the largest reserve of glaciers outside the Arctic and Antarctic and provides water for between 1.5 and 2 billion people. The stakes could not be higher. The waters of Tibet are crucial to food security across many Asian countries. Yet, short-term economic priorities threaten this fragile environment balance. Intensive dam construction, mining activities, infrastructure development, and soil pollution are placing Tibet and neighboring regions at serious risk. The question of the reincarnation and succession of the Dalai Lama is also a thorny issue. Our parliamentary group shares the view that the Tibetan people have the right to determine the reincarnation of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, according to their own tradition, without foreign interference. Tibetans and their representatives in the diaspora continue to face immense challenges in defending their fundamental rights, in pursuing their aspiration for self-determination, and resisting the pressures they experience even in their host countries, including Switzerland. They can count on our solidarity. I wish you constructive and fruitful discussion during these 2 days. The Parliamentary Group of Friendship with Tibet will continue to convey the concerns of Tibetan people to the Federal Parliament and to the Swiss government. So I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am.